this tuneful Motown musical. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I was born and raised in New Orleans. So I grew up around music all the time. I come from a very musical family. Cyril Neville of the Neville Brothers is actually my godfather. So I grew up like going to Jazz Fest and to Patinas and House of Blues and all that as a kid, and I just loved music. My father was in the music industry as well, and so I remember very early on just always having this love for music and dance. I was always a part of the dance team in school and choir. And then, of course, after Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans, my family relocated. We were all over the country. And then we ended up back in New Orleans, and I attended a school called McDonough 35. And while I was a student there, we did the musical Dreamgirls. And actually, BET did a 6-week reality show on our show. I got bit by the bug, and I just knew that at some point in my life I wanted to pursue it at some point. I didn't know when, I didn't know how, but I knew I wanted to move to New York. So fast forward many years later after I graduated college. Well, while I was in college, I was actually a professional NFL cheerleader for the New Orleans Saints. I did that for 5 seasons. Yes, a little interesting fact about me. My first year was actually the Super Bowl year. And it was incredible. My family was like, girl, you are the good luck charm. They used to always tell me that.
So, what I'd like to know is you were cast as Diana Ross. You got the role. How long, if you could tell us all, how long did it take pre production and rehearsals to get the show up on stage?
So we were in rehearsals for about 2 months in New York City before we put the show on the road. And it was actually a very thrilling, exciting, and I can honestly say scary process initially because, remember we had just come out of the pandemic. It was like 2 years of us just kind of sitting out and not knowing what was going to be happening. I was in auditions for this show prior to the pandemic, and actually the day that everything shut down, it was March 13th, I believe, I had 2 callbacks for this show. And all of that just came to a screeching halt. So I was very happy when I got the call. I was actually in St. Croix, the U.S. Virgin Islands, auditioning via Zoom because at the time I was just away. I had moved there. I had family there. And so we were there during the pandemic, and I got an email from my agent. He was like, hey, Deri, they want to see you for Ain't Too Proud. I got through all the auditions, and I booked it via Zoom from St. Croix. And I had to
Wow.
go to New York City. Yes, I had to go to New York City in October. I spent 2 months rehearsing, getting to know everybody. It was fantastic. But of course, finding out I'm playing Diana Ross, I had immediate imposter syndrome. Like, I don't know if I can do this. She's such an icon.
Yeah.
But you know what? I knew that this was meant for me to do. It is a part of my journey. It has been very challenging, but it has also been very rewarding. To be able to honor this woman. She's a living legend, and I've always been so inspired by her music, her beauty, her poise, her grace, her elegance, everything about her. And so I'm so thankful to be a part of this show. And the show is fantastic. It really is.
So, what are we going to learn about Diana Ross and the Supremes that maybe we didn't know?
Well, I actually did not know that Diana Ross and Eddie Kendrick had a little situation back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
They had some sort of it was like a romantic interest, I believe, and it's so interesting because we do a duet in the show, and so when we were in rehearsals working on this particular number, the director pulled that fact out. And he was like, yeah, Diana Ross and Eddie Kendrick had a moment. And he said, you can play with that during your performance. And I was able to really use it and tap into that. And it's really cool. I didn't know that, But when you think about it, they all spent so much time together. So it's kind of like, I'm sure the dating pool was very small. But yeah, so.
So, let's talk the Temptations. Smokey Robinson wrote their very first #1 hit, My Girl. And pretty much till this day, that song remains as one of the greatest love songs of all time. So, will we hear that song?
Oh, absolutely. You're going to hear all the hits in this show. It's so interesting because it is a Broadway musical, but it feels like a concert. It feels like a concert with this story woven in between it, and it's so so brilliant the way that they put the story together. It's actually a memory play, is what they call it, and it's told through the eyes of Otis Williams. Like you said, he's the only living member of the original 5 classic Temptations. So he's up there, and Marcus Paul James, he plays Otis Williams. He's actually up there the entire show narrating it. And then in between, we all pop out and do all these cool songs and numbers, and we're telling the story from beginning to end. It's fantastic. So, yes, you're going to hear My Girl. You're going to hear Ain't Too Proud to Beg, Papa with a Rolling Stone, of course, all the Supreme hits, Baby Love, Come See About Me, You Can't Hurry Love, and then the song that we do together, and it's I'm Gonna Make You Love Me. So it's fantastic. So many hits. I mean, the list goes on and on.
We're talking with Deri Tucker, who stars as Diana Ross in the musical Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations, coming to the Benedum Center May 17th through the 22nd. So, Deri, what is your favorite Supreme song, and what is your favorite Temptation song?
So I would say my favorite song to perform, I really love Come See About Me. That was one of the songs that, like throughout, doing it, and even though I sang a very small portion of it, I really love the groove of it. And Baby Love, of course, is a cult classic. Everybody loves that song. But for the Temptations, I absolutely love Just My Imagination. It's such a beautiful song. It sounds like a lullaby every night. I sit and I listen to it, and the guy in our show who plays Eddie Kendricks, his name is Jalen Harris, and he is a phenomenal performer. He sings that song so effortlessly, so beautifully, and I mean, people are literally on their feet clapping for him when he's done singing that song every night. It's so beautiful, and so I really know that you guys will enjoy his performance of that song. That is my absolute favorite one.
Gotta tell you, if you love Motown, if you just love music, you need to check out this musical. It's Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations. It's presented by the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust as part of their PNC Broadway in Pittsburgh series. It's at the Benedum Center, May 17th through the 22nd. If you'd like to get tickets, if you just want further info, visit trustarts.org. That's trustarts.org, or call 412-456-6666. Well, you could cross another name off my interview bucket list. I got to talk to Diana Ross. Deri Tucker, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Steve.